If you're an educator right now, I mean, whether you're in front of a huge university lecture hall or, a grade 6 classroom, that feeling, drowning in paperwork, admin tasks, it's probably very, very real.
Oh, absolutely.
You're just swimming in lesson plans, grading, emails, back and forth, managing the classroom. It's, frankly, the way things are set up now, it just feels unsustainable for so many teachers.
Yeah, and it's more than just a feeling of being overloaded. It's a genuine time crisis. We see it documented everywhere, K-12, higher ed, doesn't matter. This administrative burden, it's the main thing driving burnout. It pushes great teachers out.
It really does. But, okay, here's the important part, the pivot, this deep dive. We want it to be your shortcut, not just to manage the workload, but maybe, just maybe, start dismantling some of it.
Right.
We've pulled together key insights from tech experts, specialized education sources like Full of EDU, and we're zeroing in on 5 specific AI tool categories that can make a real difference.
And our mission today, it's really practical, purely practical application. We're moving past the whole, oh, AI is coming someday talk.
Yeah, enough of that.
We want to show you measurable time savings.
Yeah.
Like week after week. The data we've looked at suggests anywhere from, get this, 20 to 40% of the time teachers currently spend on prep, admin, documentation. That could be automated.
20 to 40%.
Using tech that exists right now. The tools we're about to discuss.
Oh.
So this isn't about tiny tweaks. It's potentially reshaping the entire job.
Okay, let's jump right into the time aspect then, because that's what educators need, right? Hours back in their day.
Exactly, and we have some pretty compelling stats on this. Studies looking across different research bodies show that teachers who actively integrate these kinds of AI tools into how they work, they save, on average, at least 4.5 hours every single week.
4.5 hours.
Yeah.
Consistent.
Minimum average, yeah.
Wow. That's like getting half a day back, a whole half day of prep time or admin work that just vanished, or, well, got automated.
Right. Time that used to just get swallowed up by these repetitive kind of soul-crushing tasks.
And if you're a teacher pulling 50, 60, maybe even 70 hours a week, which so many are, that 4.5 hours, that makes a real difference at home, in your actual life.
And it goes beyond just having more time. It links directly to quality of life and, importantly, keeping teachers in the profession. The benefits hit right at educator well-being.
How so?
Well, the research is pretty clear on this, too. 73%, nearly 3/4 of educators using AI tools report lower stress levels, specifically stress tied to managing their workload.
73%. That's huge. Why do you think it's so dramatic? Is it purely the time saved or something else?
I think it's more than just time. It's the removal of cognitive friction.
Explain that.
Friction. Think about the mental grind. Trying to come up with 5 different ways to start a lesson for different student needs before tomorrow morning. Or manually typing up notes on every student chat. They're small things, individually tedious, but they add up to this massive mental exhaustion. So when you can hand off that, grunt work.
The repetitive stuff.
Exactly. The stuff that doesn't really need your unique expertise. You reduce that constant grinding friction. Teachers feel less buried, more able to actually handle the important human stuff, the teaching, the connecting, that only they can do.
And connecting that to the bigger picture, this hits one of the biggest crises in education right now. Teachers leaving, attrition.
Precisely. Some studies suggest that if we can successfully automate these repetitive tasks, reduce that stress, we could potentially cut teacher burnout and attrition by maybe 15 to 20%.
15 to 20% lower attrition. That's significant system-wide.
It really is. So these tools, they aren't just about making your life easier, though they do that. They're potentially a systemic fix, keeping good, experienced teachers teaching. That helps everyone.
Okay, the case for looking into this is incredibly strong. But before we jump into the specific tools, the sources we looked at, they were really clear about needing some critical best practices first.
Yes, very important.
This idea of the 80-20 approach, it seems vital, both to avoid getting overwhelmed yourself as you learn this stuff, and also to make sure what the AI produces is actually, good human quality.
Well, we really have to hammer this home, because adopting AI isn't like flipping a switch. You need a strategy. What happens if a teacher tries to just automate everything, 100%?
Well, usually you end up with stuff that's kind of bland, generic, maybe even boring. It feels disconnected from your actual students, your classroom.
Exactly right. The first draft you get from a general AI, it often lacks the context. Your specific kids, your school's requirements, your own teaching style. It doesn't know all that.
Right.
That's why this 80-20 idea is key. Let the AI do the first, say, 80%.
Yeah.
The brainstorming, the basic structure, that first draft.
So You give the AI a good prompt, it spits out the skeleton of the lesson plan or the first draft of a rubric or maybe an email. It does the heavy lifting.
Correct. And then the final 20%, that's you. That's the educator bringing their professional judgment.
Refining the timing, adding that specific story you know will click with your students, putting your personality into it, making sure it actually hits the learning targets the AI might have glossed over.
That's the human touch. The
Yeah.
quality control, the consistency, the pedagogical depth. The AI is like a really fast, really good drafting assistant. It's not a replacement for your expertise. Never.
Augmentation, not abdication.
Got it. Okay, what about the really practical guardrails, the things every teacher needs to know, like right now, before touching anything?
There are two big ones. First, always check for bias. AI models are trained on vast amounts of text, and that text contains human biases.
So the output could reflect those biases. It absolutely can. In subtle or not so subtle ways, you need to review the generated content critically. Does it represent diverse perspectives fairly? Does it avoid stereotypes? That critical eye is essential.
Okay, check for bias. What's the second big one?
And this one is non-negotiable. Protect student privacy. Foundational. You absolutely cannot feed sensitive or personally identifiable student information names, grades, specific personal details, learning disability info into these general AI tools.
Especially the free public ones.
Especially those. But really, any generalized tool not explicitly designed and contracted for secure educational data handling, it's an ethical line and in many places a legal one. You have to be extremely careful when using this tech in any school context.
Right, with those crucial guidelines laid out, the 80-20 rule, checking bias, protecting privacy, let's get into the first huge time-saving area, planning and creating content. And the biggest player here, you just can't ignore it, is that category of general conversational AI.
Right.
We're talking ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, and there are others popping up too, like Grok or DeepSeek.
Yeah, and what's interesting is, while they're all kind of fighting it out to be the best overall AI for a teacher's day-to-day needs, they function similarly enough to provide massive value. Just getting outlines, frameworks, basic structures down, they solve that terrifying blank page problem.
Instantly. And the sources back this up with numbers. Teachers are reporting saving, get this, 5 to 7 hours a week just on planning and content creation tasks by using these general tools effectively.
5 to 7 hours is huge.
Yeah.
And the key word there is effectively. It really hinges on how you prompt them.
Right. Garbage in, garbage out still applies.
Pretty much. If you just type in, give me a lesson on sea mammals, what do you get?
Probably a very generic, maybe factually correct, but ultimately boring list.
Exactly. But if you prompt it with detail, okay, design a detailed 60-minute lesson plan. Make it for a grade 6 science class. Align it with NGSS standards. Focus on the ecological significance, habitats, and behaviors of sea mammals specifically found around Vancouver Island. Now what happens?
Now you get something useful. Objectives, materials list, a suggested timeline maybe, hook, activity, wrap-up, even assessment ideas.
Precisely. You get a working draft that saves you hours. You've instantly shifted from the mental load of creating from scratch to the much easier task of refining something that already exists.
That makes sense. So the main use case is that initial lesson outlining and scaffolding.
Definitely. And a thing about differentiation, that's another killer app here. Let's say you're teaching something complex, like the causes of the French Revolution.
Okay.
And you've got kids in your class reading at very different levels. You can ask the AI, generate discussion questions for this topic. Now give me key primary source excerpts, but adapt them for a grade 9 reading level. Okay, now create a summary of the main causes, but written for a grade 12 level.
Wow, okay, doing that manually takes forever.
Exactly. That ability to differentiate content quickly, that alone is one of the biggest time savers people mention in the sources we looked at. Creating rubrics quickly, drafting explanations of tough concepts in kid-friendly language. It's incredibly versatile with the right prompts.
So the general GPTs are great for tackling that blank page, getting the first draft down. But you mentioned a shift. What about tools built specifically for teachers, like Magic School or EdWad?
Yeah, this is where you see the EdTech AI field really maturing. The general models are super powerful, no doubt, but tools designed for educators, they kind of skip a step. They already understand the language of education.
Meaning you don't need quite as much complex prompting.
Right. They're already thinking in terms of learning standards, rubrics, pedagogical approaches. They're built for the job.
Okay, let's talk about magicschool.ai first. The sources frame it like a personal teaching assistant. What are its big time-saving functions?
Magic School really shines at quickly turning existing stuff into usable classroom resources. Think about something every teacher hates doing.
I can think of a few.
Generating questions based on a video you assigned.
Ugh, yes, so tedious. Watch the video, pause, write down key points, craft questions that actually match what was said. Takes forever.
Magic School just bypasses all that. Say you're a university instructor.
Hmm.
You assign a dense 20-minute video lecture on, I don't know, virtual reality in education.
Okay.
You likely have the transcript. You just upload that transcript to Magic School, tell it generate questions, maybe specify multiple choice, and boom! Instantly you get 3, 4, 5 solid questions checking comprehension.
Seriously. Just like that.
Just like that. It massively cuts down the prep time for assigning homework or just making sure students actually watched and understood asynchronous stuff. It also does other useful things like drafting professional-sounding emails or generating simple content drafts.
So it's great for leveraging content that's already out there, videos, articles, and making it easy to integrate and check understanding. What about EdWad? That one sounded more focused on assessment, maybe engagement.
EdWad Ed is definitely geared towards curriculum enhancement and making lessons more interactive. It's really strong for developing different kinds of assessment measures, quick checks for prior knowledge, for example. And a really cool feature, it helps create interactive games.
Games. Like what?
Things like Jeopardy-style review games, simple digital escape rooms, four corners activities based on your topic.
Okay, that could make planning a review session way faster, instead of spending hours building a Jeopardy board manually.
You give EdWad the topic, it helps structure the game, maybe a 10-minute task to refine it instead of 3 hours creating it. Huge time saver.
Let's use that sea mammals example again. How would EdWad handle that?
This shows its prompt enhancement power. If you just put in sea mammals of Vancouver Island, EdWad might suggest refining the prompt, making the learning goal deeper. It might suggest changing it from just listing animals to something like examining their habitats, behaviors, and the ecological significance of their presence in the marine ecosystem.
So it actually helps you make the learning objective better, more robust.
Exactly. It adds that pedagogical layer, maybe framing it in a way you hadn't immediately thought of.
Yeah.
And then once you have that stronger objective, it can generate activities tailored to it.
Like what?
Well, the source we looked at mentioned it generating specific context-aware riddles, complete with an answer key.
Riddles.
Yeah, like, I use echolocation to find my food, I travel in family groups called pods, and some people think I'm the wolf of the sea. What am I? And crucially, it gives you the answer, orca. So you look like a genius who came up with these clever, engaging riddles.
When really it took minutes.
Exactly. Minutes in the planning phase.
Okay, let's shift to what might be the single biggest time black hole for educators everywhere. Grading.
Oh yeah, the big one.
Grading essays, short answers, complex math, science diagrams, it just eats evenings, weekends, holidays. It's relentless. And this is where a tool like Gradescope comes up. It sounds potentially revolutionary.
Gradescope is definitely an automated grading assistant that's making huge waves, especially in fields with complex submissions. Think engineering, computer science, math, physics. The time savings people report are frankly staggering. It can cut overall grading time by up to 75%.
75%. Wait, let me process that. For a teacher with a full load, multiple classes, that could easily be 5 to 10 hours back every single week.
It's monumental, potentially life-changing amounts of time.
Okay, here's the critical question I always have with automated grading. Are we losing something? Are we sacrificing that personalized, nuanced feedback that students really need just for speed? Are we trading human connection for efficiency?
That is absolutely the right question to ask. And Gradescope's cleverness isn't really about replacing your expert feedback. It's about making the feedback you do give dramatically more consistent.
How does it do that? What's the mechanism?
So it works really well with complex stuff, even handwritten work, diagrams, math equations. Here's the key. It groups student submissions together based on similar answers, not by student name.
Hold on. So instead of me grading Sarah's whole test, then Ben's whole test,
Yep.
It shows me everyone's answer to question 3 together.
Exactly. Or, more accurately, it groups all the identical or very similar answers to question 3. So you look at a group of, say, 15 papers that all made the exact same mistake on question 3. You figure the core misunderstanding, you write the feedback for that specific error once.
Okay.
And then that feedback, that consistent targeted feedback, gets applied instantly to all 15 papers that had that same wrong answer pattern.
Ah, I see. So if half the class misunderstood, I don't know, how to apply a specific formula. I explain the correct way once, and boom, it goes to all of them consistently. I'm not writing remember to carry the one 50 times.
Precisely. You're freed from the mechanical fatigue of repetitive comments. Your brain power goes towards diagnosing the patterns of error across the class, which is much higher leverage feedback. Plus, it gives you stats. Yeah, statistical analysis of performance. It shows you, based on those answer groups, exactly where the common sticking points are. Which concepts the whole class struggled with, that helps you adjust your teaching. And the source mentioned it has a free tier for individual teachers, so it's easy to try out.
That sounds incredibly powerful for certain types of assessment. Okay, moving from the overall grading process to the specific agony of feedback on writing. We forget the sheer mental effort of reading, critiquing, say, 40 essays on the same topic.
It's exhausting.
This is where Grammarly for Education comes in. The claim is saving roughly 3 to 4 hours weekly just on providing writing feedback.
Right, and most people know the basic Grammarly, the browser extension maybe.
Yeah.
But the education version is beefed up. It's designed for academic writing, for institutional needs. It goes way beyond just spell check and basic grammar. It acts like an instant, consistent writing coach available 24/7.
Okay, explain the consistent part, because that seems key.
Think about grading a stack of papers. You start fresh on Monday morning, giving detailed feedback. By Friday afternoon, paper number 38.
Yeah, your eyes are blurry, you're tired, maybe a bit cranky. The feedback probably isn't as thorough or patient.
Exactly. It's just human nature. Grammarly for Education handles that baseline consistency problem. It catches the grammatical errors, the awkward phrasing, the clarity issues the same way, every time, for every student. Regardless of when they submit it or when you look at it, that level playing field is basically impossible for a human grader alone.
So the AI handles the mechanics, the sort of copy editing part, which frees up the teacher to focus on the bigger picture.
That's the idea. You can focus your limited time and energy on the substance. The ideas, the argument, the structure, the analysis, the stuff that requires your subject matter expertise.
And does it just fix things or does it teach?
That's the other important part. It functions as a teaching tool. It doesn't just silently correct. It explains why something is an error. It includes plagiarism detection, which is huge. It offers suggestions for adjusting tone, super important for academic and professional writing. It gives specific recommendations for improving clarity.
So students get that instant feedback loop. They can see the error, understand it, and hopefully learn not to make it again before it even gets to the teacher.
Exactly. It helps them develop their writing skills independently, hopefully breaking that cycle of the teacher pointing out the same comma splice error year after year.
Okay, let's shift gears again. We've talked planning, we've talked grading and feedback. Now let's look at creating engaging materials and structuring courses. If you're an educator who spends any time trying to make your slides or handouts look, not terrible.
Which is most educators these days.
Right. You know how fast that time disappears? Trying to find good images, making things look professional. This is where Canva's AI features, especially something called magic design, come in.
Canva has been a game changer for democratizing design, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Teachers aren't graphic designers by trade, usually.
Not usually, no.
But today's students expect visually engaging materials. It helps learning. Canva's AI, especially magic design, basically takes your text description and turns it into professional-looking stuff. Presentations, infographics, posters, even social media bits, way faster than doing it manually.
And the time savings. The sources put it at around 2 to 3 hours a week compared to wrestling with, say, PowerPoint templates or complex image software.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Let's use our sea mammals example again.
Okay, Vancouver Island sea mammals handout.
Right. Instead of spending 2 hours hunting for photos, fiddling with text boxes, trying to pick fonts that work together, making sure it looks balanced, you just tell the Canva AI, create a vibrant, engaging handout for grade 6 about the 5 key sea mammals of Vancouver Island. Use an ocean color scheme, make it visually appealing.
And it just does it.
It generates multiple professional-looking templates almost instantly. You pick one, drop your text in, maybe tweak a few things. The AI does the heavy lifting on the design part, the aesthetics. You focus on making sure the content is accurate.
That lowers the barrier significantly. And isn't there something special for teachers with Canva?
Yes, this is huge. The Canva for Education program. Verified educators get access to the premium features, the advanced AI tools, the huge library of stock photos and elements, unlimited storage, completely free.
Free premium access.
Totally free. It's amazing. It means any teacher, regardless of their school's budget, can create really high-quality, engaging visuals to boost their lessons. It really levels the playing field for design.
That's fantastic. Okay, next tool. This one sounds ambitious. A skilled course creator. This isn't just one lesson plan. This is generating the framework for a whole course.
Yeah, this one targets a really big task, building out robust online course materials or the basic structure, the shell for a class. And the claim highlighted in the sources is, well, it's pretty mind-blowing. They talk about creating a complete foundational online course framework in roughly 30 minutes.
30 minutes for a whole course structure. Anyone who's built an online course from scratch knows that can take weeks, even months. That sounds almost unbelievable. How?
It works using a Smart Wizard interface. You can feed it existing documents. You have like a syllabus, curriculum outlines, skills lists, or you can just describe the course you want using prompts.
So you talk to it about the course.
Pretty much. Let's take the example from the source material. Creating a course on critical thinking skills.
Okay, that's a complex topic. Lots of components. Logic, bias, analysis.
Exactly. Normally, you'd manually map out all the modules, write learning objectives for each, figure out assessments, find readings. It's a ton of work. With a skilled, you tell it the scope, the main topics, and it generates the entire outline.
Like Module 1, Intro, Module 2, Logical Fallacies.
Right. Structured into modules with suggested objectives, maybe even placeholder assignments or reading ideas. It builds the skeleton, the scaffolding, incredibly fast.
But it's just a framework, right? You still need to add the actual meat.
Absolutely. The 80-20 rule still applies. A skilled does the structural 80%.
Yeah.
Then you come in. You refine the objectives. Maybe you want to add a specific section on cognitive biases that the AI didn't emphasize enough. You paste in the links to your preferred readings or videos.
So it handles the tedious structural part, letting you focus on the high-value content curation and refinement?
Exactly. It's a massive accelerator for developing asynchronous materials or just setting up the basic online shell for any course, especially in higher ed where building full online courses is common. It takes away the monotonous setup.
Wow, okay. Huge potential there. And finally, let's touch on a tool for documentation, meetings, and accessibility. Otter.ai.
Right. Documentation, another one of those sneaky time sinks. Especially if you have students needing accommodations or you're teaching hybrid classes where everything needs to be recorded and accessible later.
Yeah, thinking about faculty meetings too, or parent conferences, or just wanting a record of a lecture. Note-taking takes time and focus.
Otter.ai basically automates transcription. It listens to lectures, discussions, meetings, and types it out in real time or from a recording. The estimated time saving is around 3 to 5 hours weekly by automating note-taking and documentation.
3 to 5 hours just from not having to type up notes or re-listen to recording?
Yeah, it adds up. And the accessibility benefits are enormous.
How so?
Think about it. Otter creates searchable audio recordings that are synchronized with the text transcript. So a student who needs notes, maybe due to auditory processing issues, or someone who is absent, they don't just get a classmate's scribbled notes, they get a perfect word-for-word transcript they can search through.
That ensures nothing gets lost. Spontaneous questions, detailed explanations. It's all captured.
Right. And it integrates with things like Zoom. So after a faculty meeting or a planning session, you can automatically generate meeting notes, even summaries. You don't need someone designated as the note taker anymore.
Ah, so everyone can actually participate fully instead of worrying about catching every detail?
Exactly. Everyone can be present in the discussion. It improves the quality of collaboration and makes professional documentation way easier and more accurate.
Okay, let's zoom out for a second and look at the whole picture here for you, the listener. If we start adding up these potential time savings, maybe 7 hours a week from planning tools like GPTs, maybe up to 10 hours from grading efficiencies with Gradescope,
Could be, yeah.
another 4 hours on writing feedback using Grammarly for education, plus maybe 5 hours combined across visuals with Canva, course structuring with Skilled, and documentation with Otter.
It really starts to stack up.
And we're looking at potentially reclaiming what?
Yeah.
Upwards of 15, maybe even 25 hours a week, depending on your specific role and workload.
It's a profound potential shift. We've hit on 5 key areas today where AI can make a difference. The quick drafting with general AI, the assessment streamlining with Gradescope and Grammarly, the visual engagement with Canva, the rapid course frameworks with Skilled, and the automated documentation via Otter.ai. These tackle some of the most universally time-consuming parts of teaching.
So if you're listening right now, you're an educator, you hear all this, And maybe you feel a bit overwhelmed. Like, where do I even begin? What's the practical first step?
Yeah, that's a natural reaction. My strong advice, start small. Please don't try to implement all 5 of these tomorrow. That's just a recipe for frustration.
Right.
Instead, identify the single biggest time suck in your week right now. What's killing you? Is it the sheer volume of grading? Or is it the nightmare of creating differentiated lesson plans for 3 different preps? Pick that one area.
Focus on the biggest pain point first.
Exactly. Then, find the tool we discussed that targets that pain point, and just experiment with the free version first. Most of these have free tiers or trials. If grading is the bottleneck, try Gradescope's free individual plan. If planning is ruining your Sundays, play around with Magic School, or even just get better at prompting ChatGPT. Baby steps.
And that crucial reminder, we have to say it again, AI is here to help you, to augment your skills. It's not replacing you.
Absolutely not. You are always the final quality check. You bring the context, the pedagogy, the human element.
The best results come from that 80-20 partnership.
Consistently. And honestly, getting good results, especially from the general AI models, takes a bit of practice. Learning how to write effective prompts, learning to speak AI makes a huge difference in the quality you get back. This tech needs human guidance to be truly effective.
So thinking about those big numbers again, that McKinsey estimate you mentioned earlier, that 20 to 40% of administrative hours in education could be automated.
Yeah.
If that actually happens, even partially, it forces a really profound question about the future, doesn't it?
It really does. If that administrative weight is genuinely lifted, even significantly, what does the teaching profession pivot towards? What becomes the focus when paperwork isn't dominating the day?
More time for.
We know what teachers want more time for. Meaningful connections with students, personalized mentoring, deeper instructional design, creative lesson planning, the stuff that actually moves the needle on learning. The current system often forces them onto the hamster wheel of admin.
So if that time is freed up,
it's a massive opportunity, a generational chance to redefine what it means to be a teacher, to shift the focus entirely back to high-impact, high-quality human interaction and truly personalized instruction. So the final thought for you, the listener, is this. If you got those hours back, how would you use that reclaimed time to elevate your teaching and reconnect with why you started in the first place?